This is an open letter to President Trump. Hello, sir. How are you? Hope everything is good. Everybody is healthy and fine. Again, bravo, President Trump. Here's the thing, sir. With regards to the empire, there is a very old saying, and equivalent to this saying is available in multiple languages, which humans in general, after thousands of years of civilized evolution, they have realized that there is one thing for certain, that you can kill a goat only once, but you can milk it and shear it for a very long time. You can kill a goat only once, but you can milk it and shear it for a very long time. This is something that is thousands of years of, social evolution has taught everybody. Anybody who ever had an ancestor who raised animals for a living realizes that, yeah, this is true. You can shear them for, I don't know, a goat lives for 20-30 years. You can, at the most 15-20 years, but still for 15-20 years you can shear it and milk it, but you can only kill it once. This is the thing, sir. When empires form, the rich people at the top of the empire are always tempted to kill the goats. You see, this is the empire, this is the shepherd who's watching after the empire, and all these goats are the members of the empire. Some are friendlier than others, some are less friendly than others, but they're still, they all have to show their pass to Uncle Sam's managers everywhere they go, because Uncle Sam managers wanted it this way. Everybody has to show their pass to us. Well, fine, but treating the herd the way you have treated the herd as a shepherd, you would certainly be fired. And because you have killed a lot of the goats, many of the carcasses are on the ground unconsumed. You're killing more goats than you can consume, let's put it this way. Literally, they're unburied bodies, because there's no time, or nobody wants to expand the effort to bury the goats. I'm talking about the Arabs, the brown skins of West Asia that are getting killed. These are goats of the empire. You have decided that no, it's not enough for us to milk these motherfuckers. Now we need to kill these motherfuckers. You can do that as a shepherd, but killing your own herd only, first of all, it's dangerous, because imagine you start killing your own herd of buffaloes right in front of other buffaloes. What, you're trying to set an example? Well, the buffaloes are going to get together and maybe overpower you, so you once they realize you're killing one after the other. Once these Arab countries realize that you literally at will you topple their leaders, and you all go away, and people that I want will take those positions. Why is that? Because politician, the problem with these bureaucratic politicians, when politicians stay in their elected seats for a very long time, they're no longer politicians, they're bureaucrats. They're doing a function for certain people, certain rich folks back home in their state. They're performing that function so they can stay in their seat for 40 years. And after one or two terms, you no longer are dealing with a politician, you're dealing with a bureaucrat. So the politician itself becomes a bureaucrat when there are no term limits. You see what I'm saying? The mindset becomes a mindset of bureaucrat. Like Mitch McConnell is a cog in a wheel. He takes orders from certain number of rich folks back home, so every time he gets elected, and for 40 years, and so he no longer, and the best politicians are the ones who are really good bureaucrats. This is how you can tell. It's not less charisma is involved, and more how-to of bureaucratic means, which the last two candidates from the Democratic Party, Mrs. Clinton and Mrs. Harris, they are exemplary bureaucrats. Mrs. Clinton was the bureaucratic manager for her husband, who was a politician. You see what I'm saying? She was not a politician herself. She was the bureaucrat behind the politician, the main bureaucrat. Harris again went through through the legal system, and got points for being a woman, extra points for being brown, and a lot of these points, extra point for being part of this sorority or that sorority, and she was set up as the only candidate that the Democratic Party has put into play this year, and she gets elected because you have blue or red, and if the red is god awful, I guess you go with whoever the blue team has chosen to be the candidate. There are no outside candidates are allowed. Even if you're a Kennedy. Sorry. Salute. Here's the thing. So literally the system likes to elect bureaucrats if it can, or elects politicians. The guy was, when he was good looking and charismatic, he got elected and then became electable, and then after that he became a bureaucrat and just took orders, and he was the only candidate that was fielded by one team or the other. So he stays in the seat for 30-40 years. My point is this, sir, that these bureaucratic politicians, the problem with them is they take orders very well from very rich people. The problem with bureaucratic politicians who are really not politicians but they're bureaucrats, is that they get well trained in taking orders. That's what a bureaucrat is. And who issues their orders? Very wealthy people. The people who agreed to make this woman their candidate or that man their candidate. They're very wealthy people, because the whole three-ring circus costs a lot of money. So unless you're up to here in funds, you can't pass this barrier. And very wealthy people have to back you. Now, once you get elected, the problem is and very wealthy people like bureaucratic politicians who are not really politicians, but they're bureaucrats. The problem is when you are the empire and you keep electing these bureaucrats who take orders from the very rich. The very rich are very short-sighted too. They believe me, they're always telling the president to kill the goat, encouraging the president to kill the goat. Kill the goat. Don't try to milk it or shear it. Kill it. The orders for Iraq from very wealthy people was that let's kill it. It's got oil and it's got other resources, and then they're not taking orders properly from us. So let's get it over with. Let's kill it. And they have a lot of oil that we like our corporations to have a say in its extraction and make a profit in its distribution. So therefore we're going to go with killing the shit. Well, killing the shit literally meant you had to kill a couple of million people there. You literally had to kill a couple of million people. They got killed in the process. Collateral damage, whatever the fuck you want to call it. My point is this, that the rich people around politicians who help elect the politicians are very impatient. They are the kind of people, look at, no offense, I mean, Mr. Bezos. I mean, do you think he has time to wait? As in, like, we are okay with one, 0.5% of their GDP in a sense of a shearing the goat and milking the goat instead of owning 20% of their GDP. I think, somebody like Mr. Bezos, somebody like Mr. Warren Buffett, somebody like Mr. Fink in BlackRock, or Mr. Dink and Mr. Dunk in Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, these people are impatient. These are rich people who are impatient because they need to show growth quarter after quarter. If they don't show growth, they're somehow failed at their job, growth to their shareholders or their investors. Other rich people like themselves, really rich people, they need to see growth in their money. So these people who are help elect those politicians keep goading them into killing the goat. Yeah, kill this goat and kill that goat and kill the other goat, instead of the mindset of that no, we don't, we are friends with everybody. We are okay with you guys using our currency, and we are okay with that small percentage that we take, 10% that we take off everybody using our currency, 10% of added productivity that we don't have to produce anything. We can actually increase the number of our universities because we get 10%, everybody is paying us in duty of using our currency. And we only get to print money. You had the option of printing money and just increasing the number of universities, but no, you went with the option of opening up more territories in order to get 20% of their GDP instead of 0.5%. You see, this is the thing that the emperor has to understand, that you can kill the goat to go for the 20% of their GDP, 30% of their GDP. You can go for that, but it's like starting to kill the buffaloes in front of other buffaloes. I remember as a kid, we had a small farm that we from time to time have chickens in it, and we from time to time they had to kill chickens because their number is grown, and what else to do, and we can't waste them. So they would have killed chickens, but at least they would go and they would tell you that if you're doing it, don't do it in front of other chickens. If you're going to kill chickens, you don't do it in front of other chickens. You go behind the wall. Because even they understand somewhat what happened. If they see it, if they don't see it, they feel, okay, something happened. You could conduct, up to now, you could conduct wars like, we kill chickens behind that wall, away from other chickens. You could, by closing down the news coming out, is like killing the chicken behind the wall. You could do that up to this point. Since the neural net on the planet has grown, you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? Excuse me. Salute. So you're killing the goats, let's say the buffaloes, let's say the wildebeest. You're killing the wildebeest in front of other wildebeest as a metaphor. When you kill Gaddafi and kill Libya and kill Iraq and kill Afghanistan and kill in front of other countries, in front of other buffaloes, other wildebeest, and because you're not happy with the 1%, with the 10% interest on your currency being reserve currency, you're not happy with that much. You're not happy with your corporations taking some profit out of those countries. You want your corporations to take 110% profit out of those countries. 110% of profit, and don't pay taxes to those countries, but only pay taxes to you. You're trying to kill the goat. You're killing the goat after goat. You're killing the wildebeest in front of other wildebeest, one after the other. What do you think is going to happen? Now, if some modest people, intelligent people were in charge, they would have stopped a long time ago and tell the corporations that no, we are not going to give 20% of the Iraqi GDP to the American corporations. No, we are not going to do that because you're not special. And a percent, even if US corporations own 1% or 2% of the GDP of the local area through friendship, it would be much better than the way things are going about, in which US corporations demand more and more of the local GDPs all over the world. Fuck the Russians. We don't want to buy resources from the Russians or Ukrainians. We want to own the resources in Ukraine. This is why the US corporations are nagging the politicians to go ahead, expand NATO, expand our sphere of influence, because we need to sell Mars candy bars. I mean, Mars is happy if they can sell in Iraq, as opposed to not being able to sell because Iraq is under sanction for the last 50 years. You see, now the Mars people are happy, just like they sell Mars candy bars in gas stations all over North America and Europe. Now they can sell it in Iraq, as in Baghdad. They wanted to sell it in Baghdad and they were not happy with 1% profit. They wanted the whole share of the chocolate market of Iraq. That's why, when you destroy the fucking country, all their chocolate makers also go out of business. So after the destruction, we come in with Exxon Mobil, Halliburton, Shell, and Raytheon. We come in, and also now you don't have chocolate bars. Chocolate bars are coming in from Mars plant in New Jersey. Because by the time the local chocolate makers try to find their pots and pans, Mars has established itself as the chocolate, the chocolate provider of gas stations all over Baghdad. And in terms of, because of the reduced costs due to volume, none of them can ever compete with Mars bars. No. So, they sell their pots and pans to the restaurants, and Baghdad no longer has a chocolate producers because Mars owns everything. So my point is this is how Mars suddenly owns 70% of the chocolate market of Iraq. This is, when you're the only provider, you can provide for the lowest cost because your volume is so high. Your costs are so low because of volume. So the result is you own suddenly. I can assure you right now, Mars chocolate bars are probably very well known in Iraq, and that's exactly what has happened. You see what I'm saying? It's not just oil companies, it's every company that has the ear of a major politician at the center of the empire is keep nagging these politicians to attack, bomb, destroy whatever structure there is, so we can go in and take over not only their resources but also their markets. From chocolate to washing machine, from chocolate to electric car. If we can go beat the shit out of them and destroy whatever they have to become our consumers. Not by choice, but by force. because we put all their chocolate makers out of business. Because how many chocolate makers can continue doing business after 20, 30, 40 years of sanctions and embargoes, and how many chocolate makers can stay in business? Overnight, Mars takes over. No offense to Mars, that's just an example of the corporations that, if they're very much interested in expanding, because this growth thing, that is obsession with the capitalist system, this growth thing causes to very wealthy people who need to show growth in order to justify their $40 million paycheck. I mean, these CEOs of Wall Street, they get those really big paycheck because they show growth. How do they show growth? They nag the politicians. First they help elect, and then they nag the politicians to destroy that country and destroy that country and destroy that country, because once you destroy them, put them out of business, we can go in and grab the resource and the market. The trick is politicians not to be bureaucrats, not to take orders very well, and basically understand that the good politician is a politician who understands that I can take 0.5% of every one of these wildebeest GDP, every one of these countries that I provide services to, or just are friendly. We are friendly with everybody. We just get something out of exactly, and you're getting the fact that the reserve currency of the world was dollar, still is. Maybe you can save it, but the fact that it was dollar, that means everybody was paying Uncle Sam an extra tax. Uncle Sam can only print, all they have to do is print money, and people give them shit for that money. But then the rich people started electing and nagging these bureaucratic politicians who took orders from rich people, and rich people all day, all night, they want to kill the wildebeest. Forget about shearing it, forget about milking it, kill it. We need to show growth. That's the problem. That was the problem in almost every one of your empires that ended on Earth. This is the problem. The rich people are no longer happy with 0.5% of growth every year. They need to justify their really big paychecks, so they have to show 10% growth a year, 20% growth a year. If not, we're not going to give you that big paycheck. Therefore, people are getting killed on the other side of the planet because the BlackRock CEO wants to justify his $40 million a year paycheck. I get $40 million a year and I show you 10% growth, and if that means I have to pump in a couple of $100 million into this or that politician, I will do it. And I will open up a new country for business. I will destroy what they have, and we go in and we take over the market with our cheap product, mass-produced cheap product. And after destruction, their small industries don't even get a chance to get up. Not even a chance. They become our consumer. Consumers of our corporation. Mars could be built, making those Mars bars in Germany and selling it in Baghdad, and still profit ends up in Kansas. Salute. One thing a top level politician has to know, Mr. Trump, is to say no a lot. No a lot. Especially no to those people who help get you elected. because if they are rich people, if they are very rich, you have to learn how to say no. No, no, no. You don't need 10% growth, 20% growth, Mr. Hyatt Hotel, Mr. Hilton Hotel, Mr. JP Morgan Chase. You don't need 10% growth next year. 0.5% is good enough. Because we don't want to go out hunting wildebeest, killing off country after country because you want to take over their whole fucking industry. We take over their steel industry, and we take over their chocolate industry, and we take over their banana industry, and we take over their oil industry, and we take over their defense industry. Iraq is supposed to buy everything Uncle Sam, arms manufacturers of Uncle Sam. Iraq doesn't have any choice to buy from Uncle Sam's managers. Everything, oil industry, chocolate industry, arms industry, cotton industry, everything becomes oversaturated overnight by multinational corporations whose profit usually ends up in Iowa or Kansas or Wyoming. And these are the same ones who are not happy with 1% growth a year. They nag the politicians to invade and kill off more countries, more wildebeest, because they want 10% growth a year, 20% growth a year. The problem is how to say no to the rich people. That's the problem. I'm rich and I've helped elect you. How am I going to say no to you? How are you going to say no to me? Mrs. Adelson, Marianne Adelson, Sheldon Adelson's widow is, $100 million, and she has some expectations. How you're going to say no to her? How any politician can say no? I mean, this is tainted money. What if I paid $200 million? Would that I would be look twice as more favorably as Sheldon Adelson? Or my cause would be twice as much favorable to you as Sheldon Adelson's cause. If that's the case, I think we can, collect money from the Palestinians and come up with at least $100 million, maybe 120, maybe raise it to 120. What if the Palestinians come up with $120 million and, pay President Trump, as a campaign donation? She paid 100. What if these guys pay 120 million? What if Hamas pays 120 million? Would that carry some favor? What is this? This is, because it's obviously none of it is based on any kind of morality. Let's be frank about that. If it's not based on morality, what if the Hamas people double their offer? Whatever Sheldon Adelson is dishing out, what if the Hamas people double that out, $200 million? Or the Qataris or the Bahrainis, what if they put in $200 million to the, is that okay? Why can't they donate $200 million? Why can't, a Qatari family who has dual citizenship between United States and Qatar, what if that person puts, and actually has a gambling house in Nevada as well? It's a Qatari family, has a gambling house in Nevada, makes a lot of money, and what if they double the offer of Sheldon Adelson or Marianne Adelson or whoever Adelson is next? What if they double their offer? Is it acceptable? And if it's not acceptable, why is it acceptable for the Adelson family to buy favors with politicians? And and that system actually works with bureaucratic politicians to the T. Politicians who are at heart bureaucrats, like Mrs. Harris and Mrs. Clinton, and who only came up through the bureaucratic channel, the party channel. They get the money and stand at attention. Why not open the way for everybody's money in that case? Why the Egyptians are at fault for paying off a politician or two in Uncle Sam's land, but the Israelis they don't do it covertly, they do it overtly. They threaten that if you don't take our money, we're going to take your seat away we're going to spend so much money and we're going to convince so many sheep to vote against their interests or against humanity's interests, so you lose your seat. This is insane. A foreign country can legally invest in local politicians. Forget about the top guy. They are heavily invested in local politicians. Israel is heavily invested in the local politics. They apparently they own the A team and the B team, the A rate and the B rate and the C rate. Now the Israelis are investing in local elections in Uncle Sam's land. And that's not foreign interference? Well, then if that's the case, please, when are you going to declare Israel as the 51st state? Because, when something happens in a state, it's understood that, the federal government has a lot of responsibility to go and take care of that state. But Israel is a state? News to me. I mean, when you go about it that way and you say that this foreign country can invest so heavily in our politicians from top to bottom, and later on carry favors, these politicians have to carry favors because of those investments, and many of these politicians are really bureaucrats. Mr. Lindsey Graham is really a bureaucrat. He's hardly a politician. Maybe once upon a time he carried the vote and it was 50-50, but now it's like 99%. Mr. Graham is 99% a bureaucrat at heart, and he's there because he's always the only acceptable candidate that the red team has put forward. And by red team, I mean the rich people who own the red team in that particular state. Anyway, my point is this, that I don't see Mr. Lindsey Graham saying no a lot to the rich people who have helped elect him. Whether it's this family or that family who are very wealthy and very old but still enjoy counting their money and enjoy seeing their wealth grow, so they goad Mr. Graham into certain actions to increase the growth of these folks' companies. And that would be, we're not happy with 1% of every country's GDP. or 0.5% of every country's GDP. We want 20% of their GDP. So we're going to expand NATO, and we're going to take over Ukraine, and maybe hopefully we're going to take over Russia, even if that means nuclear war. Okay, let's kill all these peasants, and after nuclear war, then we can take over the whole planet after we come out of our bunkers. Oh, humans. No, Mr. Trump, bravo, bravo that you have won, but please understand that it's an old saying. You can have friendly relations with all the wildebeest who are present in the empire, who are somehow, the United Nations is in New York. That means you own the cafe. You own the cafe, so you have to show some level of magnanimity, I think is the word. Magnanimous. You have to show. You show class. You have to show understanding. You have to show old money etiquette. Old money etiquette is that you can share a goat for 20-30 years, but you can only kill it once. Who's taking the profits in Libya? Who knows? You just killed it, and it's a lying carcass over there, and the conditions were not even good enough for your corporations to take over. So you just kill the goat with imagine you own a herd, sir, and you're so careless that when you kill a goat without actually having any preparations to do something with it. Imagine being such a careless shepherd that you just get up in the middle of the night and you just kill one of your own goats without ever, having any kind of preparations to what to do with it afterwards. Because it's in the middle of the night. You get up from sleep, you kill it, and then you fall back to sleep. So by tomorrow morning, in which you can come up with some kind of preparation to take care of this goat, the meat may have gone bad. This is the level of careless killing that is taking place in these days under Uncle Sam's management. Managers who are running Uncle Sam's business, they have reached this level of chaos that let's kill Gaddafi and then worry about it later. Let's kill the Taliban, break the order over there, and worry about it later. Then we think, then we make up as we go along. And then we put generals in charge of territories, provinces for 10, 20 years. Folks, you don't have enough money apparently to educate your own people, to feed, house, and take the health care of your own people. Do you really need the extra responsibility of providing security in the mountaintops of Afghanistan or in deserts of Iraq? Provide security in Jordan, provide security in Egypt, provide security in Syria, provide security in the main security, fund the security of Israel, a gated community on the side of the Mediterranean for some European folks who arrive and don't want to share the land with the fucking locals. It's like going to Saudi Arabia and saying I don't want to share the land with the Saudis. It's nuts. You're going to Arabian Peninsula and you're telling the Arabs that we don't want to share our land with you, and the Arabs are saying, what land? It was our land, we shared it with you. Now you're kicking us out of our own land? Oh, fuck. Salute. Sir, please remember, you can shear a goat. Even the fucking Iranians, even the fucking Pakistanis, even the fucking Afghans, even the Tajiks, they're happy giving you, using dollars. They're happy using dollars, which benefits you for them to use dollars. They're happy using dollars, and you're saying no, unless you give us 20% of your GDP, we are not going to let you use dollars. You're under sanctions. Why do you want their 20% of their GDP? Because the rich people around you need to show growth, and 20% growth is, much more pleasant to the eyes than 2% growth. So let's kill the Iraqis. Let's kill the goat. And let's kill the next goat in Iran. And let's kill the next goat in Pakistan. They have already started talking about the threat, that the Pakistani missile threat. Sort of like they're already taking care of Iran. Sort of like that's it, that's already going to be taken care of. Now they've started to talk about the missile threat of Pakistan. I'm sorry, you're going down the line. Are you kidding me? One percent GDP, everybody's happy to pay you, Uncle Sam's managers and President Trump. 1% of GDP, 0.5% of GDP, everybody's happy to hand over to the emperor. But if you want the clothes off their back, then some wildebeest may fight back. And that becomes the story of, every time the bullfighter wins, once in a while the bull wins. So, do you really want to be cajoling with the wildebeest so often? You don't know. A couple of them may get together and overcome the shepherd. Salute.